Hey, it's Dave from CG Shortcuts. Today, we're going to do this. We're creating a meshed explosion with exposure effects in Xparticles and Cinema 4D. This video was brought to you by CG Shortcuts Courses, our online training platform where you can take your motion graphic skills to the next level. We've got an ever-growing range of courses in the same straight-to-the-point, easy-to-follow format of our YouTube videos. Each course also comes with loads of project files and downloadable assets, as well as support directly from the course instructor. Our YouTube subscribers get 5% off all courses with the code YouTube5, so check it out today. Now let's get back to the tutorial. So we had a load of people asking how to create this effect by Daniel Ginsberg. So we had a little chat with Daniel and he was nice enough to give us a hand creating this tutorial in Cinema 4D and Xparticles. So make sure you go and check out his work. There's some really amazing stuff up on his website, and I'll leave a link down below. If you'd like to request a tutorial, head over to cgshortcuts.com/request. Okay, let's head over to Cinema 4D and see if we can make this. So you are going to need the Xparticles plugin for this one because it's going to be a fluid simulation kind of effect. So we'll kick things off by creating an emitter. And we're going for the same look from the example. So let's bring in a platonic object. And with this guy, we might just scale it down a bit to something like 15 centimeters. And now we can head over to the Xparticles menu, and under Dynamics, we'll bring in an XP Exposure Effects. And that gives us this little box for our simulation to take place within. If we hit play at this stage, nothing happens just yet because we need to tell our particles to emit from our object. So if we right click on this guy, we can go to our Xparticles tags and we'll make this an Exposure Effects source. And now if we hit play, we're getting a bit of a fire and smoke simulation from our object. So let's see if we can customize this and get it looking like the example. Firstly, we don't want our smoke rising straight up. So let's bring the fuel and the heat down and crank that smoke effect way up. And the solid option here allows us to emit our smoke from the volume of the object rather than the surface. So let's make sure we've got that switched on and let's give that a play. And we're getting close, but it looks like gravity is pulling our simulation down here, but we'll fix that a bit later on. I just want to make a few more changes to the look of our smoke first. We can add a bit more detail with the curl option here, which, as the name suggests, will make our smoke a bit more curly. So it's kind of like adding turbulence. So let's bring that way up as well. And we'll take a look at that. And there's definitely a bit more detail in there now. So I think we can rewind this and take a look at our exposure effects now. Under the Solver tab, we can use these settings to control the resolution of our sim. And you'll see if we play this back again, this is actually made up of little boxes called voxels. And at the moment, these voxels are 4 centimeters in size, which is a little bit chunky. But if we were to bring this way down to something like 0.5 centimeters, we should get a much smoother result and capture a load more detail. But it will also take a little bit more time to simulate. But I think it's definitely giving us a better looking result. Okay, let's fix that issue we had with the gravity so the smoke doesn't fall straight down. And we can do that over in the Simulation tab. And here's our gravity. So let's bring that down to 0. And while we're here, another setting I like to use is the vorticity, which is going to add another level of turbulence to our sim. So we'll bring that up a tad and play that back. And we'll just pause it there. It's definitely starting to look pretty cool, but if we look down here, we're already at frame 25 and we're already getting this explosion effect. So it's fully exploded after just a second. So that tells me it's going a bit too fast. But we can easily slow things down with the sim speed over here. Let's just make this 50%. And now our sim should move at half the speed. All right, so we're about done for the simulation now. So the next thing we want to do is turn this smoke into a mesh that we can render. So let's rewind this and head back over to our Xparticles menu. And this time we'll go to the Generators menu and we want the XP OVDB Mesher. Then in the options over here, we'll scroll down till we see the sources window. So this is where we put what we want to turn into a mesh. In our case, it's our Exposure Effects Smoke Sim here. So we'll grab that and put it into here and hit play. And we can see an orange outline of the mesh it's creating. And we could probably even see that clearer if we hide our smoke. And it's not really capturing all that detail of our smoke very well. So we'll probably need to increase the resolution of our mesher. And this guy also has a voxel size, also defaulting to 4. So for the best results, we want this to match the value we set back in our exposure effects, which if you remember was 0.5. And now our mesh is matching our smoke a lot closer, so we're almost there. And if we hit N and B on the keyboard, we can view the polygon lines, and you can see the mesh that's being generated here is extremely dense, which we usually want to avoid because it tends to slow things down. But we can reduce this with a handy little feature down here called the Mesh Adaptivity. If we bring this up, it'll start reducing the amount of polygons in our mesh. And we don't want to go too crazy with this or we'll lose some of those details. So let's bring this down to about there, I think. And then we can hide those lines again by hitting N, then A. And I think the mesh is now looking a little bit lumpy, but we can also smooth that out by adding a filter. And first we need to activate the filters. And we've got a median filter in here by default, but we don't need that guy, so we'll delete that. And under Add Filter, we've got a load of different filters we can use, so feel free to experiment, but I'm going to go with the curvature filter. And straight away, that's looking a bit smoother. And we might even head back over here and just reduce that mesh adaptivity. And see if we can get a slightly better looking result. So now, if we play this back, that's pretty much the basic setup for this effect. And you'll probably want to cache this to disk before you render though. And we can do that back in our Xparticles menu with an XP cache. And we'll also need to add a tag to anything we want to cache. So we'll right click on our XP mesher and under Xparticles tags, we'll give that an XP cache tag. And we can also cache our exposure effect simulation. So we'll copy a tag onto that guy as well. Then back in the cache itself, we just need to set a directory and hit build cache. And once you've let it cache, it should play back nice and fast. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Just a quick one this week. If you're interested in learning more about Xparticles, we've got an epic new Xparticles course up on our website that we've just launched with the guys over at LFO Designs. I'll put a link down below to where you can check it out. And you can also download the project file for this tutorial down below to save a bit of time. And you can grab the full Octane render ready project files for this and all of our other tutorials on our Patreon page. And that includes the lighting, materials, and render setups in Octane. Also, a big shout out to this month's patrons. You guys are the best. And we couldn't make these tutorials without your support. Cheers, guys. Okay, that's it for now. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you want to see in the comment section down below, or you can leave a like or dislike. And don't forget to subscribe and click on that little bell icon for more videos and free stuff. There's loads of extra resources on our website, and you can win epic CG prizes in our monthly challenges. Check out cgshortcuts.com for more details. Catch you next time.